it looks now with the new tires and the center caps painted and put on. I think it looks pretty good. Hey everybody. Well, been looking for ways to boost my views. I hear some people say you need some hose in your videos to boost the views. So I got you covered. There we go. There's two good hose right there. But I don't see how that's going to boost my views. How about this hose? That's my heater hose. And I even got a 50-foot roll of heater hose here. So, yeah, I got the hose. And we're going to see if we can get this thing cooling a little better. It'll run good and stay cool, but if I maintain RPMs, get it hot, it'll just keep getting hot and it'll boil out the cap. So, I've got a new radiator cap. I got a new upper and lower hose. And these are actual correct fit hose. Already got the bends in them. And even the little hose that comes from the water neck down to the water pump. I ain't got that. That was only 10-15 bucks. So, say people put a piece of heater hose on there. That's what's on this one right now, is just a little piece of heater hose. That will work in a pinch, but this is inexpensive. Go ahead and get this. It's got the right bend in it. You ain't got to worry about it pinching or cutting off your water flow. So, do the right thing, get that. Now these universal flex hoses, it's what it's got on here now, and they'll work. I mean, nothing wrong with them, but I decided I would get what's supposed to go on it. Now this doesn't have the springs in them to keep them from collapsing, but the way these bends are in here, I don't think they'll collapse anyways. If I do notice a problem with them collapsing, I'll take care of that later, but I think they'll be okay. These hoses that are on here, they're flex hoses, and they're hard as a rock, which they'd probably be okay. I mean, they got a little bit of a bulge to them, but not bad. But we're going to change them out with the proper hoses, just to be sure we're going to be good. The heater hose is not run to the heater core, so I've got to check the heater core and make sure it doesn't leak. And while I've got the dasher part inside, it'll be a good time to do that. So, first off, I'm going to take the fan shroud loose, drain the radiator, then pull the hoses, pull the radiator all the way out. And it's got this flex fan on here. It's aftermarket flex fan. This is an older one. I mean, it seems to be pretty thick. I hear about these things coming apart all the time. But this one seems to be an older one, and it's made pretty well. I don't think it would come apart. It just doesn't move very much air. So I have factory one off of another 302. And I know it'll move the air it needs. But I got to looking at this radiator, and it's got some serious repairs on it. So it could be leaking there too. The fins are not in the best shape. So I went ahead and ordered a new aluminum radiator. Comes with the shroud and an electric fan. And I've ordered a relay kit with the thermostat probe that you can put in the fin of the radiator, or you can put it in the inlet outlet hose. But I'm going to put it in the fin of the radiator just to make it easier. And it's got an adjustable thermostat, so I can set it to where I want it to kick on. I'll set it a little low just to be sure, and then it'll kick off 15 degrees above that, according to what the description said on the listing. So I'll have all that covered, and it even comes with a new radiator cap. Even though I already bought a new one, this one comes with one, and I'll look at it and see what it looks like. If the one I bought seems to be better quality, or if it has a different release pressure, I'll decide then which one will be best. And that radiator, I don't know when it's getting here. I just ordered it yesterday and they haven't updated shipping information. I don't even know where it's coming from. But that should be in the next video. A couple other things in the next video too. Everything for the next video should be in by next week. Alright. Go ahead and bring you up here so you can see what's going on. Okay. I say this has the flex hoses on here. They're pretty stiff, top and bottom. You can see the bottom one right down there. And they would probably be okay, but got these new ones, and I know these are good. I see these are proper bends, and this one will go to the bottom down there. Something like that, I believe. Like that. Either way, well, I'll figure it out when I get it put in. But this little hose here, it goes right here. And so they've got a piece of heater hose there, which is not kinked. It's got a pretty steep bend in it. It would probably be okay, but I'm gonna put that new one on there just to be sure. And like I said, you know, a heater hose like that will work in a pinch, but that is only like 10, 15 bucks. So it's best to get what's made for it. It's got the proper bend, everything. You ain't got to worry about kinking or closing up your water flow. And this heater hose, somebody just run it from here down to here and just blocked off the heater core, or cut off the lines going to the heater core. And it's kinked a little bit right there. Come on, focus. So I'm gonna take that off, and I've got that new roll 50-foot hose, and we'll go ahead and plumb up the heater core. I'm gonna check the heater core first, make sure it's good. If it leaks, I may be able to solder it up, or if I can't find a new one that I feel is cheap enough, I may just run a long piece of hose from here, run back there, then loop it back up to here. I'll have to tie it off, keep it off of everything. But I'll run enough to where when I do get the heater core ready to replace, I'll have enough hose where I can just cut it and then run it right straight in there. But I'd rather do it now since I'm draining the coolant system anyways. But yeah, this radiator, the reason I ordered a new one is because it is boiling over. I don't really think it leaks, but I was cleaning off a dirt dauber nest. You can see right in there where it's been repaired. So, no telling what the rest of it looks like. I haven't seen the very bottom edge very good yet. So, just be safer to go ahead and get a new radiator. And this fan shroud, the bolt down tabs are broken, so somebody's just got it wired on in a couple of places. So I just clip them wires and I think it's got one bolt down there on the bottom, and then on the other side Yeah, it's got a bolt down there on the bottom on this side. There we go. And it's not even bolted up, but it has a wire up here at the top. So I'll get that pulled off and then drain the radiator, because with this out of the way, I can get to the petcock on the bottom of the radiator easier. I can get to it now, but it'll be easier with this out of the way. Then take the hoses loose, pull the radiator, and I'll leave the fan on for now, but I will take it off because I've got to get new bolts to take out the spacer and everything and bolt the pulleys straight to the water pump, since I won't need that because that new radiator has a electric fan coming with it. Okay, so I've got a hose on the end of the petcock there. It's a loose fitting hose. I went that way so I could turn the petcock while it's inside the hose. I've got it run over into an empty antifreeze jug, because I may be able to reuse this coolant. Doesn't seem to be dirty. Seems to be good and clear, green colored. And took the radiator cap off so it could get some air. And the hose is not fitting on there perfect, so it's dripping a little bit, so I've got a bowl underneath there catching it. And good thing about these jugs is they have that little side window slot on the side there, and you can keep your eye on it as it's filling up. Make sure you don't overfill it. So we'll get this drained. Then we'll take the radiator hoses loose, and the transmission cooler lines, we'll take those loose, and should be able to just pull the radiator. Well, unbolt it first, but then pull the radiator right out, then get to work on the other parts of it. Now these petcocks can be a little confusing. They have left-handed threads on them. So when you turn it this way, like you would a regular thread to back it out, it actually goes in. And then it'll open up the petcock and allow fluid to flow through it. And to close it off, just go the opposite way. Just twist it the other way, and it's going to come out as you're twisting it because of the left-handed thread. And that'll shut off the flow through the center of the petcock. Okay, so I got the radiator out. You can see up here where it's been repaired. And still got some dirt dauber nest there, mud dauber, whichever you want to call it. This car was covered up with them. But yeah, figured it'd be a safe bet. Just go ahead and get a new radiator. This one doesn't look too bad, but for some reason this thing is very heavy. I mean, it shouldn't be that heavy. It's not steel. You can see right there, that's copper. So I don't know what's going on with it. It's 3-flue or 3-row radiator. We always call them flues. We always call these flues. That was a 3-flue. Now I had this old one that came with the car. It was in the trunk when I got it, but it's a 2-flue. A 2-row. And this one is about half the weight of this one. And I know that extra row of flues didn't add that much weight to it. So I don't know what's going on with it. I mean, it's not full of trash in there. And even if the transmission cooler is full, it shouldn't be that heavy. So I don't know what's going on with it. But I've got a new lightweight aluminum radiator coming. And it'll take care of that. Now the old shroud here This bolt here was the only one that was holding. Had a piece of wire here, holding it up there, and a piece of wire over here, holding it up there. And this one, you see where the tab's broken there, it was just loose. But the new radiator comes with a shroud, electric fan, everything. So I'll save this one, may be able to repair it. Should be able to. Maybe able to just put in some angle bracket here, and over here, and over here, and just, you know, bolt it on here and then have it come out the side. But, and it's busted down here a little bit too, but not terribly. But it can be reused, so I'll save it. Now then, up here in this top, where the top hose goes on the water neck here, it's a little bit corroded in there, but I don't think it's too bad. See the thermostat. The thermostat was working, but I believe I'm going to go ahead and take this thermostat out because I've got a new one. I've got a gasket and everything for it. Because this hose has got to come off. You can see how it's almost pinched together there. So, I'll replace that. This water neck looks pretty nasty inside, but I think I can clean it up. If not, I can get a new one. I think they have them hanging on the wall up there at the parts store. So I may just get a new one. This bottom hose, I just cut it because the clamp was rusted up real bad and I couldn't get it to turn. So I just cut it off. This top clamp up there, I'm going to see if I can get it loose and pop it off there. I went ahead and pulled the water neck off because I saw that down in there that had me worried about what the inside of the engine looks like. But I mean, it's fine in there. I mean, the coolant, it's a little cloudy, but there's no rust. If there was rust, there would most likely be some caked up right there. But I think it's fine. Inside down here, where the bottom radiator hose goes in. I mean, it's cast iron, so it's a little rusty, but I mean, there's no flakes of rust up in there. So I think it'll be fine. You can see down inside these here. The bottom one was for the heater hose. The top one was one that had that 90-degree hose that goes into the water neck here. You can see down inside there, looks good and clean. And there's a little trash right there, but that just come from when I was taking the hose off. The edge of the hose brushed against this here, and just kind of left a little bit of this dirt and trash on there. But yeah, you can see right there, up inside there, looks clean. Now where it's rusty right there, that's just where it clamps on the outside of here. Now the top, so you can see, looks good. So I think it'll be fine. I'm gonna sprinkle some oil dry down here, help keep the cats from getting into this fluid that's on the ground. A little bit of transmission fluid, but it's mostly just a little bit of coolant that came out of the radiator. Cats and dogs will drink coolant because it's sweet. So you gotta be sure not to leave puddles of it laying around where they can get to it. So that's in that bowl wasn't clean, so that's why that looks dirty. And it's had some of that transmission fluid drip in it from that cooler line. So I've got an old jug. It's got some old nasty coolant in it, and I'll pour it in that. And then the rest of this I'll put down some oil dry, and that'll keep the cats out of it and keep them safe. And another thing real quick, this is one of the bolts that was in the fan here. I took one of them out, and I've got to get some shorter, because with that electric fan I'll be doing away with this fan and that spacer. So I'll just need one just long enough to tighten up and hold that pulley on. So it'll only need to be about so long. Now if I have to, I can cut these, but I'll see if I can find some. I'm sure I've got some here. If not, I can run up to town and get them. Got a Tractor Supply in my town, and they got every size bolt you'd ever need up there. So I'll get 4 of those shorter ones, and they'll have it ready for the electric fan. And I went ahead and put down some oil dry. Then I covered it with a mat and cardboard, keep the cats from pooping in it. So should be fine for tonight. Leave it just like it sits. I guess while I'm waiting on parts, I can go ahead and see if I can pressure test that heater core, or I may just go ahead and pull it out to where I can get to it easier. But I've got to figure out if that heater core is good, because I'd like to just go ahead and run the hoses to it while I've got all this out here doing this. Mainly while I've got the coolant drained. Be a whole lot easier to put them heater hoses in while I've already got it drained. Then I just had to slap everything back together. All right, well, that's going to do it for this video. Just going to be a short video this week. I wanted to get more done, but I didn't realize the radiator was in the condition it was in. So I went ahead and ordered a new one. And it was just a couple of days ago when I ordered it, so it'll be one day next week before it gets here. It should be towards the beginning of the week. I've ordered a relay kit because the new radiator is coming with an electric fan, shroud, and everything, except for a relay kit. So I had to order a relay kit separate. That should be here the day after the radiator gets here. Not sure, because the shipping information hasn't updated yet. But according to their projected delivery schedule, should be beginning next week. I've got another part coming next week too, but I'll save that for the next video. There's a couple other things I can do while I'm waiting. I clean up the water neck, and the old thermostat, I'm just going to reuse it. I mean, it works fine. The new thermostat that I was going to use is not the right one. It doesn't fit. So the old one works fine. I had it running before with the radiator cap off. I watched my temperature gauge. When it got up to 180 degrees, it came out and looked the radiator, and it was circulating, so it does open, and should be fine. And then the heater core, I've got to check the heater core out, see if I can figure out how to pressurize it and check for leaks. Then I can run the hoses for it. I could have done some of this today, but it was real stormy earlier, Had some high winds, really heavy rains, and plus I don't want to get dirty because I need to run to town. Yeah, the storms finally passed through. It was mainly just straight line winds and heavy rain, so luckily I didn't get any damage, just some limbs down. But there were some people in this area that did have some trees down and some damage to buildings and stuff. I don't think anybody was injured, so that's a good thing. I haven't heard of any reports, I'll say that, of anybody being injured. But, you know, for the people that did get damaged and everything, you know, I'll be thinking about them. But yeah, I'll see how much I can get done by this time next week. And it should have a good hour-long video at least for you. Alright, well, that's going to do it for this video. Appreciate y'all watching. And y'all take care.